Hi everyone, my name's PK. In here today is a very special episode. I've got in front of me Mehluli. I think I pronounced that right. His nickname is JJ, but I like to pronounce the real name, which is Mehluli. He's from Zimbabwe and he migrated to Australia 8 years ago, based in Brisbane. He's a client or student of the Property Investment Accelerator, and I'm really, really happy that I'm grateful that he's made time today because he's like one of these students who kind of, follows me for a while, builds trust, does the course, and then just takes the bull by the horn and just is like a model student, just absorbs everything, learns everything, and implements it exactly in the way that I want it to be implemented. And he's got the deal. He's bought a fantastic deal in Queensland, something in his own words he thought he could never do before. And when he emailed me, which I put a smile on my face, he's got a property for 319,000. Yes, you can still do that. That's in March in 2024. So like just this month, the rent is likely to be around the 400 a week mark. So that gives it about a 6.5% yield. It's got value add potential, but we'll go into it and we'll go into like how he built confidence, how he built relationships with sales agents, how he's adding value, how he's bought into stay, all these types of things. But before we do that, I just want to say thank you so much, Mehluli, for making time.
Thanks, man.
Um, well, let's sort of start from the start. I mean, I kind of know your story, but I just want to paint the picture and paint a bit of a background. You're a mechanical fitter, a FIFO worker, and you're obviously a migrant into Australia in the last decade. What's kind of like your property experience before doing the course? Like, what's kind of your background, your family background, your property background?
Uh, Pretty much, I mean, before joining the course, I didn't have much experience, like in terms of what do I need to do, like to get a good deal or get a house. All I knew was like, okay, I'm coming to Australia, work hard, get a family house for my family, my wife and kid, and live the Australian dream. So I didn't know much, but I would say back in 2020, around that time, I sort of worked enough and I've sort of had a bit of savings, like anyone else. Build your savings and buy a house and looking at other immigrants like me around us, they all had their nice houses. So that was like the goal.
Right.
But so it was like, oh, nice house, everything. But really, in terms of investment, sort of, but when you go to barbecues and you meet your fellow countrymen, everyone is talking about, hey guys, we need to buy properties, Yeah, there's money in properties. Yeah, we're talking over a barbecue, but you don't really know the sort of some that have maybe their IPs, they don't really share sort of what are they looking at and stuff like that. So pretty much it's like I didn't have much knowledge about investing, but I knew at the end of the day I needed to buy a house for me and for my wife and kid.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Is property like a commonly discussed topic around the barbecue in the Zimbabwean community or in the African community in Australia or Brisbane as much it is for like, Indians or Chinese or Australians?
Yeah.
Is it that popular as well?
Yeah. So basically, before I moved to Brisbane, I was in Dabo,
Okay.
New South Wales. So I only been in Brisbane for the last 2 years.
Hmm.
So I know, in small towns, you get to meet a lot of your mates and countrymen and different people. And so every time we've got a barbecue or soccer match on the weekend, yeah, you talk, basically talk things from home and just catching up. And there'll come that topic. I know back in 2019, guys were talking about property. Oh, guys, property is a good investment. We need to maybe have a sort of a common maybe an account where we can say, guys, we're aiming to. I remember us talking about land. Say, guys, we put 10,000, 10,000 each, and then end of the year, we just buy land, hold for it, hold on to it for 10 years, or 5 years, or 2 years, then
Hmm.
harvest it, and then share the money and then you buy your own. But no one really sort of like said with us, say, guys, I've done it before.
Mm.
This is how we do it. This is what you need to look at. We just talk about it. But after the barbecue, everyone to their own. They go to their own places, and pretty much that's it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But it's talked about, but not really in detail, those sort of dynamics in it, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, like, is that the reason you decided to do the Property Investment Accelerator course? Because those discussions had whetted your appetite, but then
Yeah.
you didn't actually know anyone who had actually been successful. Is that the reason you did the course, or was there some other
Uh,
reason?
so like I said, we were in Dabo then. And I know, like I said, in 2019, 2020, that's when I started doing the FIFO work. And I know, okay, I was doing a little bit of cryptocurrency in it, in between. That was like an investment, And I know that time we started, I think Dabo was on an uphill, you know, and we could see development around us, people buying houses and renovating, and that's sort of it. Now I know that was a gentrification that was happening there.
Hmm.
And I know my wife came to me and said, you know what, our aim was to buy our own property, and look at it now, we got savings. So what you reckon we buy a house now? And but in the meanwhile, because we'd moved to Ridge now, our intention was like, oh, we'll stay in Ridge because of the visa condition that I
Right,
had then.
right.
And but we're like, okay, after we get our PR, we're gonna move maybe to Newcastle, close to the beach somewhere.
Hmm.
And so when time came, my wife said, oh, she's been listening to some podcasts, you know, property double falls in 7 years, 10 years, so it's a good investment. She listened to some podcast. She was confident, not really confident, but she used to tell me this is time to buy. If we're gonna move, we'll leave it, rent it out, and we go and buy our own or the rent. So she sort of had an idea,
Hmm.
but I was too busy in and out of city. I'm like, no, why should we buy it now? Because we're still gonna need to move. We'd rather just move and go buy it there. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So I never bought in 2019, 2020, which I regret now.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, so anyway, stayed in Dabo until and due 2021, I came to visit I got a cousin here in Brisbane. So I came to visit him. Oh, he's bought a house, and he's telling me, oh, I've just harvested some equity in it. And what's equity? He's just telling me, oh, I bought so I'm like, okay, maybe I should, what you see, well, when you came, actually, we were coming to see city life sort of. So we liked it. And I'm like, oh, I think wifey, as you said, we need to buy on. I think this is it. Let's look here in Brisbane. So but still at that time I didn't know much about property. I knew I just needed a house
Mm.
for the family. So we
Mhm.
came, scanned around. My cousin took me around and saw something, but there's not enough time when you come for a holiday, because we came for a holiday just to look around
Yeah.
and see. So yeah, we came. So went back to Dabo. But deep down, I knew that I've sort of lost an opportunity, because I know some of my friends in Dabo that bought before me, and they'll say, "Oh, my house is sort of, ascended, and I've got nice equity. I might buy it." And me, I'm still on zero. So, in 21, when I went back to Dabo, and then but of course, I've now looked at surroundings here in Brisbane. So I was looking more like close to my cousin, sort
Hmm.
of a radius, so which is around on the north side of Brisbane.
Sure.
Yeah, so he's in North Lakes. So I was
Hmm.
looking around Morayfield, North Lakes, and the surroundings. But prices were just, you look today, the house is gone. End of the week, prices are going up.
Yeah.
In the short period we came to visit in December, went back to Double January, prices are different.
Hmm.
So, but now I was exposed to where the areas are. So when I went back, I kept on real estate. Okay, we need Because now I was more like on a panic mood because my wife was like, I told you, you need to buy. You see what's happening, the prices are just like, going up.
Yeah.
So lucky enough, the one that I'm on now, my PPOR came on real estate, and I remember it had the words contract crashed. So uh, reach out to the agent. So I'm in Dabo. My cousin is this side. I call him quick. Hey man, there's this one. I don't know what it means, but contract crashed. So can you go and have a look at it? I've sort of given him what we're looking at. 3 bedrooms minimum, 2 bathrooms if we can, double garage, and enough yard. So he came and saw it and said, mate, this is it. He knew my budget, and the sales agent gave him the price. Said, if you buy today, this is how much it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
So, okay, I don't know. My cousin has got a Tesla. So I think, assume the agent. So, okay, if I give him a price, that's it. And he knew my price. So we got our PPR for 580,
Hmm.
which is a sort of, is that an apartment? You get two houses in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's duplex sort of. So I got that one in early 2022 January.
Right.
But this was more like I need to make up for my wife because I've held it off for a long time. So, but deep down, when I got it 6 months later, I was expecting that was so I bought in 2022. But I've heard stories on 6 months just gone up, and have this equity and everything and move on. But yeah, I did that 6 months. The house was flat, man. There was nothing in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Interest rates started rising at that time.
And I was sort of, then I started listening to some podcast and listening to you, and I'm like, maybe did I make a mistake here? Because apartment, yeah, duplex, okay, maybe not.
Hmm.
I should have bought something with land because
Hmm.
now I know land appreciates buildings, you know. So yeah, I got that one, and then but now as more as I listened to you, I knew I had to educate myself, yeah. So and also I wanted sort of to prove a point and make it up.
Okay.
Right. So that's when I started listening to you, and then finally August last year, that's when I reached out and said, PK, I've been listening to you, man. I need this course. This is what I need. So I enrolled for the course in August
All
last
good.
year. Yeah.
So did you have to convince your good wife about doing the course, or was she already supportive of doing this? Because you kind of had to, and you're saying you had to make it up to her. So did you have to kind of convince her that I need to
Yeah, I
spend this
sort of
money?
convinced her to say, you know what, I think there's so much value in the course. I know, like I said, in 2021, she has been listening to some podcasts and she sort of had an idea. But when she tells me she didn't have that confidence,
Hmm.
said, this is how we, so it never really convinced me. But I was now convinced that this is the course that I want.
Hmm.
So I sort of to come back and said, okay, wife, I need this course. But I told you this is what we need. This I said, but I think yes, as much as what you know, there is more value in this one.
Hmm.
So I said, okay, do it. We'll see what happens. So I was more like, I have to make it happen.
Yeah.
Sort of,
So now
yeah.
the pressure is building up. You've
So
not
yeah,
only bought a property that may have not been the best deal. I mean, it's your principal place of residence,
yeah,
so you have an excuse for not buying a perfect deal. But
yeah,
you have to make it up to your wife, and now you bought a course for $6,000. So now there's a lot of pressure to perform.
yes,
That's interesting. And so then I wanted to ask you in terms of time, everyone's busy. You're a FIFO worker.
yeah,
How did you find time? Because you're constantly flying in and out. You're at the campsite. You're presumably quite tired at the end
yeah,
of the day because you're using your body. How did
yeah.
you find time to actually learn and implement the course?
Uh, it wasn't easy, but I mean, like as I said, I enrolled in August 2023, and September, I did a contract that I was doing for work-wise. So fortunate enough, that one, because the, the, the work that I had that time, I was in a campsite for at least about minimum 3 weeks in the same camp. You get somewhere, you fly in 7 days, come back. So that one was constant 4 weeks.
Right.
So as much as I worked 10 hours that day, I came back in my small, you know, room, camp huts, for work. That's pretty much. But the conviction that I had, came on, guys are going to the gym. I jump on my laptop, I'm doing the course. So I think, like they say, man, where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was so convinced I need to do so. Whether I do 1 hour for that day, that was enough for me. Go have a shower, have a meal, sleep, go back to work again, go do 10 hours and come back. So I made time.
Mm.
Yeah, I made time. And yeah, it's not the easiest of all because you're tired from work. Days are different. You get the days where you really feel tired.
Yeah.
But like I said, I needed to do it. And I knew there was so much value. So, but I mean, the thing, when you start doing the course, as you start unpeeling, as you explain in the course, man, you sort of get to understand, there's so much. You do chapter one, you're like, oh, yes, this is it. It's opening your eyes. So, I mean, it's a good thing, man. And I kept on going.
Yeah. I always think it's like, of course, you're working hard, but I think it's not about time, it's about drive.
Yeah,
Like, and that's really what you had. You don't have so much time. You're working 10 hours a day and you're using your body. Like, not everyone uses their body. Most people just use their mind in front of a
yeah,
computer. But you're actually physically tired. And yeah, it's very inspiring. You had a lot of drive. You really wanted to make this work
yeah,
for you and your family. And that's amazing. And when you're tired after working physically for 10 hours and you
yeah,
don't like you're not like from a data background, the course is pretty heavy with data. Like
yes,
everything is not
yeah,
my opinion, everything is data driven. How did
yes,
you was that easy for you, or how did you understand the data? Like how did you get your head around it? Because that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's not really your background, right?
yes. I mean, it's not the easiest, like I said, data, and that's why I think that's one thing that when I was coming into Zoom or in the community and everything, you see a lot of people they ask questions to PK and PK just jumps on them like that, like they nitty gritty, like they come to us. I've researched this suburb. There is this so much proportion of this, proportion of that. They break it down. But for me, I was like, it's not easy to understand, but the minimum data that I got, like this is the suburb, this is and the websites that are there to help us see those, you can see, okay, now there is owner occupier, vacancy rate, those sort of the minimum that I knew. This drives me to the required proper that I want. That was what I needed.
Hmm.
Yes. So for me, I simplified it as much as I can
Yeah.
to make it work for me. So
Right. 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 That's good to hear, because I think thinking about data, analyzing data can throw a lot of people off, especially if
yeah,
they're not from a data background. But it's a really good case in point where it's like, how long is a piece of string? You can analyze data till the cows come home, or you can simplify it. I
yeah,
find that property investing is complex for the complex and simple for
yeah,
the simple. And so if you're just like a simple person, then you don't have to overcomplicate things. And I think that's what you did
yeah,
really, really well. And then what was your experience like? And maybe you can share some tips and tricks as well if you want. Like
yeah.
what was your experience actually then implementing what you had learned? Because it's one thing to select your suburbs, select your street, select your property type, having created a strategy, long-term, short-term portfolio strategy. But then the rubber hits the road, you actually have to pick up the phone and call
Yes.
the sales agents, the property managers. I mean, I know that you emailed me and I was really happy to receive this, that you said that the sales agent thought that you were a seasoned investor, which
Yeah. Yeah.
you weren't. But so how did you go from like not knowing much at all to then coming across as a seasoned investor?
I mean, I think, like as I said in your course, man, I think it comes back to the implementation. So when I started doing my research, I knew I zoomed into the suburbs that I wanted. And then I think I sent you a name. I think I asked the community guys, I've zoomed in on these suburbs, one, two, three. And people said, yes, yeah, yep. So I was convinced in that. So January this year, I had sort of a days off between my contracts. So that was the time for me to really say, okay, I've got this time. I've got to make it happen. So it was daunting. It's not the easiest of them all because my work of line of work, I speak with my tools, man. I don't speak to so many people. Okay, I speak to my colleagues, do my work crew, but time of calling someone who's in a like a white collar job or something, it's not the easiest of them, you know. So, but when started doing the searching for the properties, as yeah, I remember writing down some notes, what I need to say, sort of, because I wasn't confident in what I need to say, you know. So everything has to be here to ask this question so I don't forget. So okay, I did my research, sales agents in the real estate. I just called, man. Like you teach us, man. You introduce yourself. Try to be polite as I can, man. And yeah, I called some sales agents. The first one I called, it was a nice little property, 311, nicely renovated. And I called the sales agent. That was the first. And yeah, I'm sweating because I'm thinking I need to make my voice be, sound. I don't know, sound okay for them to hear me. I don't know, but I just pick the phone and say, okay, my name is Okay, my name is, I'll say my first name, obviously, but I know it's difficult for everyone. I say, I don't want to call me JJ. I'm an investor based in Brisbane. I'm looking at your property, this one property that you got on. I'd like to just get more information on it. And yeah, I've got a pre-approval, like what's been taught in the course. So if you can just give me a background on it and what's the situation with the vendor and everything. So I know that sales lady says, yep, the the property is on, and I've received so many calls. So I don't know what number you. So, but yeah, I'll give everyone a 10. So prior to that, I spoken to the PM. There's a PM that's referred on the course.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, when I called the PM, she no longer works for the estate company in Townsville. So, but a lady picked us. Oh yeah, I'm so. I'm the one who's taken over. So how
Right.
can I help? You know, and I said, look, I'm from. I was introduced myself, obviously, and I'm looking at a property in Townsville. Are you willing to look for property when I see properties online? Are you able to go and have a look for me for them? She said, no, no problem. I can go and have a look. So, but I was a bit like, oh, is she gonna really go and see? Because I don't know this person. So anyway, so with that property in Mount Louisa, the sales agent said, yep, you can send through your property manager. She can come through. So I gave her a number, and she was like, oh, but make sure she comes because I got a lot of people calling me like, more. It's tough. Yeah, it's heating up. So, but fortunately enough, my MP got in touch with the agent. She went to see the property, which
Hmm.
was neatly done, nicely displayed, and it was put in as offers over 320.
Okay.
But according to my CM comparison, it came to around 316.
Mm-hmm.
And when I sent my property manager, she says, "Oh, yeah, it's a neat property, but I've spoken to another agent. They said they won't pay over 320." Oh, I sent an offer. Oh, the agent called me and said, "Oh, when I was speaking to her, I said I'll call you back." When I'm doing my CMA, and I came to 316. And I called them. I said, "Yeah, I'm ready to make an offer. Could you send me the offer forms?" She said, "I'm not sending offer forms at the moment. Can you tell me over the phone?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "We're not supposed to do that on the phone." I mean, so, but this is my first one, man. I got no experience. So I said, yeah, okay. So now I'm not knowing where I need to go. Should I
Yeah.
keep doing the same one? So I said, I'll do 320. She said, nah, it's not gonna happen. So that hit me. I got discouraged because now like, I said, nah, it's not gonna happen. So okay, phone you for 5 minutes, and I did a bit of calculations. So I came back and said 325. That's it. From the course I learned that when you meet you're flexible, but you don't want to overpay at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I said 325. Says nah, I got more than that. So I said, okay. Uh, thanks for your time, and I'll keep looking. So I
Mm-hmm.
lost on that one. It's a bit discouraging, but with data in my mind, I said, okay, this is what I needed so that I'm learning, and it's teaching me to also how to speak to them and what they're looking for. I've asked one or two, three questions, but I think, oh, I missed that one. I'll ask on the next one. So I never really got discouraged. That actually motivated me that at least I had someone answering me back and
Yeah.
having a conversation. So, which was okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. No, I think the best practice is just by doing. Like the
Yeah,
best learning happens just from doing. And
yeah,
even though in the course, I've given you the exact script to how to talk with agents and property
yeah,
managers because you're nervous. Sometimes, you miss, and that's okay. I mean, there's so many or more properties, and I think it's actually a good thing because you had confidence in your CMA. We're not
yeah,
relying on like online calculators that say the property's worth this much or that much,
yeah.
Core Logic or Price Finder, banks. We're doing it ourselves, and that way you actually have confidence that it's true, and then you just let it pass. And I think
Let it pass there.
sometimes it can be discouraging, but I think the reality is no one's buying on their first go anyway, right? Like,
Yes,
and no one's ever done that really in the last few years, and so through that experience, you just get better and better and better. So
yeah,
think that was kind of like just a raw experience that you shared. So I think that will hopefully inspire people who are in your shoes, who are
yeah,
missing out on properties, to not be discouraged. Every time is a learning.
yeah.
And then kind of just zooming out for a second, Meluli, what was your experience more broadly buying interstate? I mean, you ultimately did buy there and you got it, well under the suburb median value, which is great. Through those property managers that, surprisingly were doing those inspections for you, you didn't think they would actually go and do it, and then making those phone calls, having done the data analysis. Did you find the process of buying interstate or not interstate because you bought in Queensland and you're in Queensland, but in another city,
Yeah.
was that after you had experienced it a couple of times, did you find it challenging, or is there any advice that you can give for other people who are looking to buy in a different city without having, gone there to actually, make it happen smoothly?
Yeah. I think to encourage others as well is, I mean, when you pick up that phone call, it's not the easiest of them all, but when you pick that phone call, I think, you know, you just need to believe in yourself, and be open and just be genuine. Those sales agents and property manager, they're people like us, and the way you come across or the way you communicate with them, it's either they will like you or they'll just you're there as another person. But so I say just be genuine and be polite.
Mm.
And I know you've learned in the course. Oh, these are the questions you need to ask. But sometimes just sidetrack, ask them how they are, how's been their day. You know, uh, just a general conversation, and you'll be surprised how some of them, answer back. Oh, because I know I called one and asked them how it's been your day so far, and she says, "Oh, thanks for asking. You're actually the first one today to ask me how I am. Some people just call me and they're straight to the point. So
Right.
that those conversations they make a difference,
Hmm.
and they don't know you facially, but they can sort of like you from the conversation.
Yeah.
And after the conversation, the phone call, what I also did, I'll send a text. Oh, thanks for your time on the call. This is Jay. I'm trying to, leave a mark in their head. They already know there's a Jay. So when I call next time, oh, this is Jay. Because I mean, these guys they receive I don't know how many hundreds of phone calls every day.
Hmm.
You know, and I think I would say to the guys as well. I know people in the community they like to ask, who did you deal with, and who 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 did you go for? Who's your MP? I need to get in touch with them. But for me, I think like as you said, PK, I never asked so many questions. I think I went in straight. I said I'm gonna get my own. I'm just gonna tell random whoever connects with me, I connect with them. As much it's okay to go with referred ones, but
Hmm.
sometimes just go look for anyone who's willing to listen to you and help you to achieve your goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I think just on that, I think that's the beauty of property managers as well. There's so many of them, and so
yes,
even if you don't connect, like you're not on the same frequency as a few of them, there's always dozens and dozens of others in any location across Australia that you
yeah,
could connect with. And
yeah,
and they do these inspections for you. They're actually so vital. Without property managers, I think it's basically impossible to
yeah,
buy in a low risk way, interstate or remotely, without having gone there yourself. They tell you if the type of property you're buying is going to be good for tenants, for future
yeah,
owner occupiers, anything wrong. They even help you understand the building and pest report sometimes. So you've got that two-step due diligence process before going unconditional. It's yeah, they're just so useful. And I think we
yeah,
were talking about this before we hit record. Um, you didn't like I want to ask you this question because you didn't really ask me many questions. I provide mentoring in the
yeah,
course, one-on-one over the community forum and also over the Zoom chats every week. You attended every Zoom call that we did, but you
yeah.
hardly asked questions. So my question to you was like, how did you build confidence that your suburb was correct, that your property was correct, that your valuation was correct? You even negotiated really well, like even within the um, conditional period, you negotiated. Like, how did you build confidence in yourself?
I mean, like I said, PK, I think maybe I don't know whether it's my background. I just go into it when I do my job, man. It's
Hmm.
like when you do something often, you build confidence to yourself and the self belief that you can do it. If someone has done it before, and listening to the Zoom meetings, someone has done it, and you hear their background, and you look at yourself like, oh, I'm actually think I'm better than him where he started.
Yeah.
So if I push myself, I can do it. So
Mhm.
it's all about self belief and just picking up that phone and calling people. And yeah, I think in my mind, I took away that they are there like the sales rep, like I took them as a person doing
Mm.
their job as well. So
Mm.
communicate with them, speak to them politely, and yeah, build those relationships. I got agents now. He's my friend. You know what I mean? I didn't buy through him, but I just called him yesterday because I was telling him like I've got that one that he went physically. to pass through there because he had an inspection close to there. So when I
Yeah.
spoke to him, he said, "Oh, I'm gonna send me your address. Send me your address. I'm gonna pass through there." When I was on conditioner, and I said, "Pass through and have a look." So he had a look. Says, "Oh man, that looks solid, man." So it's those relationships that also give you that confidence that I made right. And I mean, from the discussions on the Zoom, I knew these are the suburbs that most
Mhm.
clients were buying. And I use, the tools that you got, checking the data, vacancy rate, owner occupier, zooming out of the street and checking the owner occupiers in that street, you're checking the flood maps. And yeah, like I think in week 5, you teach us to check for floods and everything, and just playing around with because the Townsville map is not the easiest one,
Mhm.
but you play around with it. I'm not a computer person, but playing around with it, I was able to sort of, I can zoom in and zoom on the property that I'm looking at, and you see where it is. Because when you look at it, it's all blue, man. You don't understand what's happening. And I also discovered that you can actually chat with the guys from city council
Yeah,
through
yeah.
their website. And I say, man, I'm looking at this property. And they can say, okay, give me time, I'm checking. They check for you. So I was confident in the suburb,
Yeah.
the street, and everything around it, and the 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 the, the, the things that we need to look at, the factors surrounding that property.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
No,
was
that's
convinced.
so good because yeah, I mean you've built such a good relationship. You're like mates with, one or two sales agents, and that's happened just in the course of like, a few weeks, like a
Yeah,
few phone calls. And
yeah,
I think that's a really important point to illustrate because sometimes new investors, we or they have this concept that oh, it's the professionals, like buyer's agents or whatever. They must have these tight-knit relationships that no one else can break into, and they always get the deals, we get the scraps. But
yeah,
I mean, here's a great example of you building a friend or a relationship with a sales agent, very quickly.
yeah,
Anyone can do it. And like you said, just by seeing them as real people.
yeah,
Same with the council. It's like, oh no, I need a buyer's agent because I don't know how to interpret the flood map or I don't want to
yeah,
buy in the wrong street. But it's like the person in the council is also a real person and you can just
yeah,
ask them for help. You don't need to like pay $15,000 to avoid making a phone call. Like, as long as you have the ability to make a phone call,
yeah,
which you did. So I think that confidence piece is something that you've I think everyone, including myself, can learn
yeah,
from your experience. And maybe one or two last questions. Having bought this deal, which, objectively, I just look at the numbers, right? And it's going to have a yield between 6 and 7%.
yeah,
It's very affordable, 319,000. You negotiated that as well, really well. It's basically recession proof because it's so affordable in Townsville. It's in a great area, a great
yeah,
street, and it's got that value add potential.
yeah.
Having done that, what does your good wife think about your results? Is she happy or is there still pressure on yourself?
Now, man, honestly, she's happy, eh?
Sure.
She's happy, and she's now calling me Mr. Property. So where are we going, Mr. Property? I said, we go in places, love. I mean, I'm happy. I'm sitting on. I bought a property that's got 725 square meters. There is so much potential in it, and the fact that I got it at that the median value of the suburb, that just puts a smile on her face. So you really did this, I was like, yeah, I did it. There it is, and she's getting all these emails. Well, we need to sign off DocuSign. I said, are you really doing it for real? So if we are in the same work, we are happy, man. And so what's the plan? I said, no, look, we'll renovate it and just those cosmetics. And look, I'm punching the number. I'm also in that say, I'm gonna get this 6% plus yield. So she was happy with that. Like, she's yeah, no, we're excited, man.
Nice. And what's your plan then? Like now that you've dipped your toes in the water, are you looking to expand your portfolio going forward?
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Like as I said, this PPOR that I bought 2022, I just got 3 months back. I went to because I went with them before I connected with the mortgage broker from the coast. Of course, I had the mortgage broker from NAB who did the first this one. So I know 3 months back, I asked him, "Can you do evaluation on this one?" Because I
Mhm.
knew I need to level up and I'll see where I am because I can see it's happening around. He came back to me and said, "Man, your house is still sitting where it was." I'm like, ah, you can't be serious, you know? So I said, okay, that's him. But I got now my mortgage broker from the group
Yeah,
that has done it. And I'm happy to say I'll be getting pulling out some equity from this one and then do a little bit of rent on that one. And I'll be left with something. And depending how I work in the mines, I'm expanding by end of this year. I'll say in the next 6 months, man, I should be add another IP number two.
that's so cool, man. And you're gonna be the expert now around the barbecue when your community, now it's like it's not just wishful thinking. It's like
Yes.
this guy's done it, and everyone's gonna be looking to you for some tips and like what's the hot spots and
Yeah.
all that sort of thing. No, but honestly, I'm very happy because it's not easy for any immigrant, regardless of where they're from, to
Yeah.
come to Australia, and everyone's chasing the Australian dream, and that dream is becoming more and more fleeting. It's like a
Yeah.
mirage in one sense with house prices that going the way they are and wages not keeping up. So I think, we have to decide as migrants, which side of the equation do we want to be on? And
Yeah.
I think home ownership and becoming a property investor, is really the only way to keep up with the times, to keep up with cost of living, and to get ahead financially for your family. So I'm very happy that I played a small role
Yeah.
in your journey. And yeah, the best thing really is when I get emails like when from you and other people, and it really puts a smile on my face when you share what you have shared. So I really appreciate you putting your trust in me and
Yeah.
taking action.
Nice. It's all about action, man, and just implementing it. And I mean, with the course, once you know, man, you're convinced, and it becomes second nature. As much as I'm still learning, I'm
Hmm.
not the expert. I'm still learning, but I know moving forward, man, whatever I decide on, it's on me. I know what I need to do to get the next one. In spite of, before getting that property. I know I spoke to one agent there in Townsville, man. He's a youngster like myself, not really myself, but I connected with him. He's my
Yeah.
friend too, but he
Right.
couldn't give me a deal because I told him this is my budget. He said, no ways. You're not gonna get that in Townsville.
Right.
Then he pointed me to Emerald. I said, man, I'm convinced I can get a property in town. He said, no, you won't. He's a sales agent.
Mm.
So I'm gonna call him. I haven't told him that I've told him I'm conditional. So I'm calling him today or tomorrow. I say, man, bang, there it is. At that price that you never said I'll get. It's
There you
in there.
go. There you go.
Market within markets, man.
That does fill the heart with pride. No, I'm really happy for you, and of course your wife as well. You guys seem to be a good team in how you do things. But no, it's also what you've done, and I'm looking forward to. It gets easier, like the first property, you're learning everything,
Yeah,
implementing. The next time, the suburb selection will be like within 1 hour, I would say, and then it just gets easier and easier from my experience. But
yeah.
keep me abreast and keep me in the loop and stay tuned to the mentoring calls which happen as you know every week because yeah I really put a lot of my heart and soul into them and I'm glad
Yeah,
that
for
people
sure.
attend them.
I don't know how you do it, man, but whoa, man, you're doing a great job.
Thanks bro, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Anything lastly that you'd like to say before we finish up, any tips or any piece of advice for anyone who's kind of in your position 12 months ago or 6 months ago?
Anyone in my position, man, who's like sitting on the fence, I encourage them to jump in the course, man, it's there's so much to be unpacked. You know, I think like you're saying, goes, man, this 6 inches between your ears make the difference. And that's my motto, man. I didn't know stuff 2 years ago, but what I know now, my wife says, "Oh, next time you're gonna be teaching people." I was like, maybe, because sometimes you think you're speaking simple, but you actually be giving, advice to people and knowledge. Knowledge is power in my own way, in my own, So knowledge, have knowledge, learn, join the course. No doubt, I'll fight for anyone to do the course. That 6,000 for the what you get, the value you get. You got an asset that's there when I'm sleeping. It's doing something. I mean, that's for me. That's just a cherry on top. I don't regret paying the 6,000. Trust the process, you get the results. So I can
Yeah.
say, yeah,
Trust the process, get the result. Trust the process, do the work, get the
yeah,
results.
get
And
the results. Yeah,
yeah, the 6 inches between your two ears, that's the most important real estate. So always
yeah,
invest in that
for
first, as you
sure.
said. No, thank you so much, Mehluli. I'm very appreciative of your kind words. And for anyone who's watching or listening, I always say this, and there's like more than 120 of these kind of client interviews that I've done on the client results playlist. And honestly, like I always say, I honestly don't care. I'm sort of beyond the stage of caring whether I make 6,000 from you or not anymore. It's like
Yeah,
if you do or do not don't do the course, at least watch those interviews because
yeah,
people like Mehluli, they'll give you so much education, but I think more than that, inspiration to actually, get off your bum, so to speak, and do the
yeah.
work because your future self will then thank you for it. So yeah, I'll tag Mehluli in the Facebook group as well when I post this video. And if you have any questions, you can DM him. Maybe he'll reply, maybe not. I don't know. But regardless, I want to thank you for your time and once again, thank you for being part of the team.
Thanks, PK. I appreciate it, man.
All right, cool. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. Hit the subscribe button, give it a like if you got value. I'll see you next time. Thanks again, guys.
See ya.